Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. All that glitters is gold, as we do have Balthazar Gelt leading the Empire forces, commanded by Wei, and then we also have Giddapmule is going to be leading the forces of Chaos, who the Sons of Sigmar shall be facing off against. And for the larger choices, we do of course have Balthazar Gelt up in the sky. He is going to be bringing actually his full kit of spells. So we do have Searing Doom, Plague of Rust, Gehenna's Golden Hounds, and then we have Glittering Robe, Final Transmutation, and Transmutation of Lead. Probably a little overkill on the spell lineup, but it does provide a lot of utility for Balthazar for the coming fight, and Metal is a very good choice against Chaos. We do also have Gotrek acting as support, so he's going to be a major source of anti-large armor-piercing damage for the Empire forces, and he is, of course, an Unbreakable with Heroic Fortitude, and he does have a nice little bit of a regen, and he has Deathblow, of course, Deadly Onslaught, Gotrek's Doom, and Rune Axe of Gotrek. For the rest of the forces, we're going to have a very elite front line of greatswords. We do have 4 of those, and then we also have 4 Free Company Militia in the rear ranks. A nice cheap gunpowder unit with 360-degree firing arc as well. So that is a nice little unit to have there. And we do have a couple of war wagons and 2 outriders. A very strong skirmishing force with the wagons and outriders should do some good work. And then for the forces of Chaos who have taken their position up on the hill, we do have a Chaos Sorcerer of Fire up on his dragon, and he is going to be bringing Fireball, Cascading Fire Cloak, and Burning Head as well. We do have a couple Horse Masters in the front with a couple Chaos Warhounds to act as assistants for them, and that is going to be our mobility force for the Chaos. And of course, we do also have some Chaos Knights and the Summoners of Rage, Dragon Ogres as well. But it looks like the Skirmishers are going to be acting kind of as the forefront. And then we do have Chaos Marauders, and a couple Chaos Warriors are going to be protecting the Soul of Damnation ROR Hell Cannon. So the Soul of Damnation, we take a little look at what it's got. So it does have Boom, so it gets a nice bonus to base explosive damage and armor piercing, and it has blood as well, which gives them, some speed if you for repositioning, and Soul Devourer as well with a nice bit of a reload skill. So it's a few extra abilities on top of that Hell Cannon to help kind of punish in the range department. But those are our armies, so let's get this show on the road. As the Hell Cannon does open up its fire. Looks like it is just going to be targeting Balthazar Gelt, though its tracking is semi-decent, although it's not going to be hitting that small target, as it will eventually be retargeting itself to some of these more elite frontline troops. Now, the Empire is going to be moving up with some of their war wagons. It does look like we have a Fireball going to be coming in from the Chaos Sorcerer, as it does arc its way towards these war wagons. It shouldn't take out a model, actually almost clipping Balthazar Gelt on the way in. Does make connection with one of them, does a decent amount of damage, but all of the models are still functioning. And here comes that Hell Cannon, though. Nice little shot clipping some more of those war wagons, but those war wagons are going to be firing in to these Horse Masters now. And more shots raining in. Very good tracking on that Hell Cannon. Can really track between such shots, not like a traditional mortar or other cannon. It does have a nice bit of tracking as the shots are raining in. Still has all 3 of his models, but taking so much damage. One does go down, and this one war wagon taking a considerable amount of damage. Looks like a little miscast here of Searing Doom, not probably a little misclick by Wei in that particular engagement, but we do have some of the Outriders are actually looking to get into the back line here, trying to get some shots in on some of the elite Chaos Knights. Very expensive unit there, but we do have looks like a Final Transmutation going to be going down. It does go down. It is not an overcast, but it does clip both of the Horse Masters, and now the Free Company Militia will be firing in as they are advancing. So this is a nice use of the Free Company Militia for getting that shots in as the rest of the army is going to be moving up. But yeah, so far, these units have been routed off the field for now and losing one model, though they do come back so they'll be able to provide a little bit more fire support, as in the other Outrider unit does start to come in to the engagement. Now, the Chaos are just content with firing into these greatswords, though it may have been in their best interest to take the top of the hill, because now the forces of the Empire, there's a little breath attack looks like going down, does miss its mark by the looks of things. Not really a good choice firing on moving targets. Those breath attacks do tend to miss when you're doing that, but these Outriders are just punishing these Chaos Knights right now. Giddapmule must not realize that those shots are raining in, as I think they do start to move a little bit, or they may just be repositioning due to lost units. Another fireball, though, going to be arcing down, going right through these greatswords. I mean, greatswords have taken quite a bit of damage on the approach from the Soul of Damnation, but now the Empire is going to have the hill advantage in this engagement. The Chaos Sorcerer could be... actually, yeah, he really can't be any more aggressive right now, because we do have the Outriders and a bunch of Free Company Militia, which will put quite a hurt on them. And these Outriders are going to do very good work against these Marauder Horse Masters, especially with the assistance of that Free Company Militia. Though these Chaos Warhounds could provide a little bit of extra assistance. More shots raining in. Another Fireball cast right into the Greatswords. I think there are better targets, exactly like how he was earlier, firing onto these War Wagons, with those fireballs able to eliminate some models. But now finally these Chaos Warhounds do come back and try and push off these Outriders, though it looks like the Chaos Knights have already taken a considerable amount of damage from that. Very unfortunate misplay by Giddapmule, not seeing that engagement earlier on. But now we have the Greatswords charging down the hill, which is definitely going to be benefiting them. That's kind of why I was saying that Chaos should have moved up. They had the mobility to screen out and protect their Soul of Damnation with all the Chaos Warhounds, the Horse Masters, and all that, but now the Chaos Warhounds getting on top of the Free Company Militia, but they'll be just taking a bunch of shots from these Outriders right now, and they don't have the best leadership department, so a nice charge by these Outriders would quickly finish them off, and they just get routed off anyways from all the shots. We're looking into this engagement. We do have, looks like a transmutation of lead overcast, so minus 60% base weapon damage and minus 24 melee attack as well. Very good stuff for that Empire forces in that engagement, though they are losing quite a bit of their front line from all the shots from that Soul of Damnation earlier on, as we have 3 units routing right now, a 4th is wavering, and while the other one is still holding strong right now, we are getting some of these Chaos Warriors into the Free Company Militia right now, as Chaos is starting to take an advantage, and we still have a very healthy Summoners of Rage who has not taken any damage whatsoever, but these Chaos Sorcerer Lord just taking so much shots in from all these Outriders and all these Free Company Militia, and he does need to pull out of there. This is going to be the Empire's way back into this fight, able to take out that Chaos Sorcerer Lord, though he is trying to get down in top of these Outriders, though he's not going to be able to get into that engagement. These Outriders should be able to peel off, though he's getting a nice little charge speed as he does finally get into them, though there are plenty of other missile units in the area to help kind of push him back. But otherwise, Chaos doing a nice job getting into these Free Company Militia, and they've been able to push off the frontline engagement for the most part. And here is a nice charge by the Chaos Knights right into this Free Company Militia, shutting down the last open Free Company unit currently at the time. Otherwise, these Horsemasters are starting to finally waver this Free Company Militia unit with some Chaos Marauder assistance, and that Chaos Sorcerer Lord still alive, but very low on health. We do have some Greatswords starting to come back into the fight. Balthazar Gelt actually getting his hands sturdy a little bit, getting in with these Chaos Knights. As long as he's able to come in and out, he should be fairly safe. There's nothing that can really punish him. There are the Dragon Ogres, but he's a slippery little guy. He should be able to get in and out of those engagements. We do have some great swords now coming back to assist, and we do have at least a few units being pushed off the field. Chaos Marauders getting into these War Wagons, but Gotrek is kind of being left alone, though he is in a very good engagement for him with these Dragon Ogres to get his bonus versus large off. He should make quick work of them. And these great swords should be pushing off these Chaos Warriors, getting the last of their support off the field. But looks like a Chain Lightning from the Summoners of Rage going off, actually clipping some of the Chaos Warhounds instead of the Empire forces, as the Chaos Warhounds are getting on top of the Outriders, and that is a good little engagement for them to be getting. Great Swords holding off against some Chaos Marauders, and I think those Marauders should win that engagement with how beat up those Great Swords are. Otherwise, the engagement's still very even right now. Balthazar getting probably very, very close to that Chaos Sorcerer Lord. A little bold of him. Chaos Sorcerer Lord is still on a dragon, and Balthazar Gelt is no melee combatant, and that is a very risky move. I think that Chaos Sorcerer Lord could just turn and fight and pretty much take it to him. But he is going to elect instead to drop down, getting a nice little terror route onto these great swords. But actually, Balthazar doing some decent work onto that Chaos Sorcerer Lord, but this Gotrek is so close to him, and a nice little, looks like going to be a Searing Doom might be enough to finish off that Chaos Sorcerer Lord, and it is. So that little gamble did pay off for Balthazar Gelt. It was a little bit risky, but it did pay off getting rid of that Sorcerer Lord and the Magic for Chaos. But the battle is very spread out now at this point. Lots of units just kind of been routing off the field this way and that. The Chaos Knights do finally get pushed off, and Balthazar is shutting down that Soul of Damnation. But at this point, Chaos doesn't really have anything left that can deal with Gotrek very well. We do have still some ammunition left on these Marauder Horsemasters, and there's plenty of Free Company militia scattered about, and there's not really a good way for Chaos to shut them all down. They really need to let this Soul of Damnation fire off as many shots as it can. It's probably the best way to deal with what's left for the Free Company militia, but the Summoners of Rage trying to just jump from unit to unit as best they can, and that's a fairly decent use for them because there's nothing that can really catch up to them. I think there might be some Outriders left. I'm not sure. It does not look like it, so actually the mobility advantage is in the Chaos's favor. So the Summoners of Rage really cannot get caught out like they currently are right now, and they are going to be routing off as Gotrek does get in. So that's a very unfortunate play as well by Chaos. The Summoners of Rage did need to kind of stay healthy for as long as they can, potentially getting cycle charges off onto Gotrek or getting Balthazar Gelt down, but otherwise now it's pretty much just going to have to be down to these Chaos Warhounds, some of these Marauders trying to get clean things up. The Marauders, they might be able to do okay against Gotrek, though with Balthazar Gelt is there as well. They should be able to hold out for at least a good amount of time, though the shots from the Hell Cannon is not going to help that, because they're going to be doing a lot of friendly fire right here, and they will be routing off the field. And now these Summoners of Rage, they do not want to get into this engagement. They need to continue clearing up all of the assistance or the support troops for the Empire. There are still a few left, as the Summoners of Rage do kind of pull out a little bit. They could potentially bait Balthazar Gelt to come into this engagement, and again these Warhounds should be coming after all these forces, and there are a lot of forces are going to be routing off. They're trying to do a little alpha strike on Gotrek, though again I think it's best if Gotrek would be saved for last. We still have some Free Company militia, and coming in to get some nice support off will be very, very good for them, I think. But a single shot, wow, actually that shot actually did hit Balthazar Gelt from the Soul of Damnation. The Soul of Damnation should take just one shot off into the Free Company militia, and that might be enough to rout it off. And Gotrek, though, is going to be standing strong, though, even against the Summoner's Rage, knocking down another unit. Only 2 left, and the Summoner's Rage are going to be wavering. A single shot from Gotrek, I think, is going to be enough to finish them off. And here is that final volley right into that Free Company militia, as they are going to be wavering and maybe routing off of just that one shot, but I think leaving them alive just a little too long, letting them rout off these Summoner's Rage as well as the Chaos Warhounds. And at this point, it is just down to the crew of the Soul of Damnation, and it looks like army losses are going to be soon to follow, because there is nothing left that can even do damage to Gotrek at this point, and especially if he gets any of his heals off, that is going to be game, set, and match. And yeah, at this point, Gotrek is going to easily be able to push off these Warhounds and all the Marauders. There is nothing left that can do a considerable amount of damage in a short enough period of time. We do have, I guess, some Horse Masters, but they're very low and they are wavering. It would not take much for them to finish, or for Gotrek to really just rout them off, and they do shatter, and that will be army losses, as the Empire does scrape it out in the end. Take a look at the after battle report. So, I mean, the Summoners of Rage doing actually some decent work, getting 102 kills, and I think a lot of that was on some greatswords. The greatswords themselves, I mean, they didn't really stay engaged as long as they could have. I think the Chaos Warriors still got the upper advantage in that, especially with all the shots coming in from that Hell Cannon earlier on. And I think the Outriders could have really kind of pushed their advantage a bit earlier on against this Chaos Sorcerer Lord. He was getting a little bit too far ahead of himself. He did have to be careful of all that gunpowder units, and I think in the late game, Chaos did make a few mistakes on their target priorities. They needed to keep that Chaos Sorcerer alive, even though he, in sustained combat, not very good against Gotrek, though at the time, that was the only thing that could really do damage to Gotrek, considering how much damage those Chaos Knights took earlier on from the Outrider fire. Otherwise, they would have had to have tried to drag them down with some Chaos Warriors. And they just needed to quickly clean up the supporting units for the Empire, and they just left a few of the gunpowder units alive for a little too long. Otherwise, it was a very close match coming right down to the wire with just Gotrek standing tall amongst the hordes of chaos. So it was a very fun match, and I hope you all enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good one.